And today is a very, very special day. It's kind of my dream day. You know, I do a lot of talk stories over the years, but it's truly a hero of mine is here in the station today. And I'm just getting chicken skins. Anyone that's from Hawaii knows but chicken skins, but you can see my chickens. I have Dr. Doreen Virtue, who is truly, to me, a life-changing person here in the studio with me, and her just mystical husband, Michael, is here with her as well. Welcome, welcome, and welcome.
Aloha, and thank you so much for having us with you. Aloha to everyone listening.
And, you know, I have to tell people a little background. I'd always loved angels, and I've, of course, heard of you. You have... I lost track. I actually printed out how many books, but it's like pages.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's pages and pages of books, and then pages of tarot cards, and then all the courses and downloads and CDs, and it goes on and on and on. But it wasn't until I saw you at the Temple of Peace, I believe that was late July or August.
I think so. It was right before the last GMO protest
Yes,
march.
that's right, it was, yeah. And so it was then that I got to see you, and that little Temple of Peace was packed. I mean, there were people coming out of the windows and the doors, and it was pretty funny.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
And you walked in with your lovely little pet. What's his name?
I brought Gigi to that one. I've got
Gigi.
many pets. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gigi's my little rescue from a puppy mill girl. Yeah,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
she is a healer.
And you started the talk with, at the moment, taking a moment, even though the room was completely crowded, and you said, how may I be of service? Let me ask how I may be of service. And I was very, very impressed. And you went on to just give an amazing talk. And on top of that, I was completely blown away, because there were, I mean, dozens and dozens of the line went down the sidewalk of people who were buying your books and wanted you to sign them. And I thought, how? I mean, I had to say it myself. I'd never take the time to do all that. And you were taking time to sign all these books and be kind to all these people. And I went, this is someone really, truly who is giving service. And so I got some of your decks at that time. I got the lovely, this is one I got there. I got the Angel Tarot cards, a 78 card deck that you did with Radley Valentine. And I always liked the Masters, so I bought the Masters one, the book which is the Ascended Masters one. And I started, and then I got impressed because I found out you were giving the Certified Angel Card Readers course online. So then I signed up for that. And that was wonderful, and you did these not only great classes and insights, but you do what you do, and you do with great compassion and kindness and love, a gentleness which I have had a hard time expressing, because I've kind of had to fight for my way in radio most of my life, and you, I know, have had to also struggle to get where you are, but you haven't let that affect how you do what you do. So I guess one of my questions would be, how, because you've had a struggle from the beginning, doing what you're doing, including being what people may not know. You took courses and you got your BA, your MA, your PhD degree in counseling and psychology, and you did your work and paid your dues through a lot of people who might have stopped you. Other people might have been stopped, right? Because you were married, you have 2 children
Yes.
at the time,
Right.
you were working, and you were writing your first book,
Right.
which is what a lot of people would think would be overload. How did you maintain that persistence and that vision that you had with all of those things that you had to deal with?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your honoring words, and I would just want to say that I believe all of us have an equally important mission, and that I'm no more special or above or below anyone else. I truly have come to the place of knowing that we're all one, and my practice is to live in the present moment, and there's consequences of that in this world where you're supposed to hang on to the past and look to the future, but it works. And partly it works because there's so many angels in this world that are in the form of helpful people who magically come in your life and offer help. one of my dharmas is that I have been deeply, deeply hurt, more times than I can count. And it happens every day, and it's because I have my heart open. And I don't defend myself against hurt. I allow myself to get hurt. I allow myself to feel the hurt and all the pain and the suffering of the whole world and of my pets and of all dogs and animals and children everywhere. And I feel my own hurts. And I let myself move through that in a way that is turned around to help others who are in pain. And through that pain we connect. So I can feel hurt in other people because I've been there myself. I remember a time when I went to, I love music so much, and I'm enamored in this radio station.
Surrounded by music.
Yeah, music. I played guitar when I started violin when I was a little girl. My mom stuck a violin in my hand because she's a concert violinist, and I played violin, and I couldn't stand the instrument because there was no frets on it, and it's like a torture device. And as soon as I could talk her into it, I switched to guitar, which is very humane and has little lines where you know where your fingers go. And I really thought I was going to become a professional musician. I've been in bands most of my life, and up until recently, some singing, but mostly guitar. And I mean, up until a couple of years ago, I was in a band in Kona, and we traveled the world. And so this whole thing of being the angel lady was not my plan at all. This was something that I am guided to do, but in my head I thought I was going to be a professional musician. But my point is that one of my hurts that propels me to be of service was actually because I had this hero guitarist named, and I don't want to name him because I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I went to see him, and I actually did something I'd never done before. I brought a poster of him and a pen, and I bought a front row seat to see him, and I thought, because I was as close to him as I am to you, maybe 2 feet away, I thought I could call his name and hand him the pen, and he would sign, acknowledge me. And he ignored me. He didn't listen. He pretended I wasn't there. I knew he could hear me. And it hurt. And for a while I thought, I'm never listening to your music again. But then, of course, I moved through that hurt into the place of compassion and forgiveness and understanding, where he must have come from. And I thought, I'm never doing that to another human being, how that felt. So I make a point at all my workshops or wherever I am, if someone says my name or says, please sign this, doesn't matter if I'm going for an airplane, and my husband can attest to this, I make a point, I stop what I'm doing, and I give them my full, in the present moment attention, look them in the eye, love them, and if they want me to sign a book or answer a question, I'm theirs.
Wow.
And all these lessons I've had, it really is turning lemons into lemonade. Let me learn from my mistakes and help you not to go through these mistakes, is a lot of my books. Let me tell you, in my latest book, Assertiveness for Earth Angels, it's all about how to avoid toxic relationships. And if you're in one, how to make it into something that's healthy and a learning platform and not get all bitter and close down your heart in the process.
That book I read just this last weekend, and I didn't put it down. I had a long flight, of course. Every flight from Maui is a long flight. But I read the whole thing in one sitting, and every single page, even though it was an e-book, I guess you still call them pages, right? Mm-hmm. Every page was, yes, this is me. Yes, she understands. Yes, 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 that's exactly what happens to me. And it was so nice to know that someone else was exactly experiencing what I had experienced. And I felt a sisterhood, of this understanding, which you very rarely see in most books. And I have to thank you. If anyone out there, I highly recommend getting this book, because it explains what you go through. I mean, with complete compassion. You understand that you're not alone, that there are other people that are going through this, and they're there, and so there is a way to get through what you go through, and
that's it. It's the process of becoming authentic, which means being completely vulnerable with yourself first, and that means admitting everything. If you feel like a schmuck, you have to admit that to yourself. If you feel like no one loves you, you have to admit to yourself. If you feel like really awful, hard to admit things, you need to admit those to yourself. And that's how you get to this point of accepting and loving yourself, is you have to really get to know all the deep, dark crevices that are within you and the hidden monsters that we all try to keep secret from ourselves. And that really is what creates this wholeness with ourselves. It's how you become your own best friend. And then you can feel safe to be vulnerable to others and say, hey, I feel this way. Because I know that if I feel this way, someone else has got to feel it too. I'm not some sort of unique freak who feels like, other people won't like me if I'm real, or if I, let them down, they'll never talk to me again. There's everyone that feels that way sometimes. So in the book, Assertiveness for Earth Angels, I took the risk of admitting all these things and then teaching how I've worked through them and how people I've counseled and met have worked through them. And what I found is that it connects with, like yourself, Cindy, the highly sensitive people, gentle souls who live and work in harsh environments and who say, hey, I don't want to close down just because I'm in this setting. I want to learn how to make a difference in a harsh environment and still stay open and peaceful.
You told a couple of stories there, I think, that are very valuable stories. They stuck with me. One was when you were going through all this to try to go ahead and take that step of getting your degree, of how you expressed how you wanted to write a book, and your professor shot you down and said, what were the words that he said to you?
Yeah, my professor, who was also my boss, because I was working at a psychiatric hospital because I wanted to be a therapist who wrote psychology books. And so it was because I wasn't ready to do what my angels had always told me to do, which was teach about spirituality, because I remembered as a kid when I was talking about angels and seeing deceased people and my psychic visions, people would laugh at me. The kids would think I was making it up or crazy. And so I was taking the angelic guidance to be a spiritual teacher and kind of trying to make it normal by becoming a psychologist and writing about it. I'm not minimizing that part of my life. It's still very important to me, and it actually is who I am. But I went to my professor before I decided to write a book and told him about it, excited. I thought he'd go, yay, atta girl, and support me. But instead he just, like you said, shot me down. He said, oh, you'll never get published. And he said, you have to have a PhD. And at that point, I had just got my bachelor's degree. I was just before getting my master's. But you know what? There's times when you get this clear vision of where you're going. For me, it's vision. I see it. For some people, it's feelings. You get this feeling, I'm supposed to do something. Yeah, some people hear. That's actually pretty rare in my surveys. Some people have a knowingness. However you get it, a feeling, a vision, a knowingness, a words, you just trust it. And it doesn't even matter if you know how you're going to get there, because no one gives you the roadmap. It's really step by step, breadcrumb by breadcrumb. I knew I was going to be published. I knew for a fact I was going to be speaking to large audiences and it'd be helping and of service. And so when he said that, it was as if he had told me that I had green skin, or that, that I was a boy and not a girl. And so I kind of went, okay, that's what you think. And I didn't let it stop me, and that's one of the things I do thank myself for.
Yeah, because again, you trusted that. Trust comes up a lot in some of these things. And in fact, when I did my certified angel card reader course, and I do my first as homework, first reading, trust was the first card
interesting.
that came up, because it's been something that's been hard. Trust has been an issue for me, because I went through a lot of things in abuse, and my self-esteem was kind of shot down when I was young. And that's why, even though I became a vegetarian at 15, I've had food issues. And I knew that it related to issues within my self-esteem and stuff, but I was one of those people, when I was feeling stress or pain or hurt, I would eat. And I knew I was doing it. I was conscious of no, but I didn't know how to stop it. But then I found your book just this last summer. Actually, I got 3 of them: Constant Craving, Losing Pounds. You actually sell them as a bundle. Losing Pounds of Pain, and there was one other one.
Eating in the Light, probably.
And those books, when I was reading them and taking the Certified Angel course, I knew I was ready to go through a fast, which I did, a 30-day juice fast with a great guy, Craig King, who works out of Lumeria and makes these juices from everything from his garden and fresh. So he made them up so it was easy to do and delicious. And then I've kept it up, and I lost 22 pounds, and I went through at the time the same thing. I realized as I was doing it, because things that we bury, the pain sometimes we bury by eating or weight, and I was going through it, and then I was able to more address the issues that were coming up. So not only was it purifying my things from my body, but I was able to address some of the things that have held me back with self-esteem, which I'm still, for me, it's a lifetime process.
We're all a work in progress. My hero, my mentor and publisher, Louise Hay, likens us to an onion where we're just peeling layers through our whole lives. And, you know, when you get done with that, it's over. And so we don't want to be in a hurry for this. We want to learn and enjoy, actually, the process of discovering these issues. And for me, I have a lot of past life memories, and as they come up, I just go, oh, that's interesting, and work through it and let myself feel. I think that's the main thing I've learned, is don't stop feelings, don't stuff feelings.
Mm-hmm.
They are gifts, mm-hmm. and especially the painful ones. They're the biggest gift.
Yeah, and I shut that down, and I'm just still working on reinvigorating and re-energizing that part of shutdown, because it is hard to feel some of those things. And I'm really impressed that you're able to be open to feel all those things, because it's quite a process, you know.
It's scary in the beginning because you think you're the only one. And I think communication, now, like my husband who's sitting here, I'd love him to join in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know, with those feelings, it is very possible to shut them down, but it is never possible to shut them out. And so what happens is that energy tends to fester inside of us, and we will either look for food or substances to help alleviate some of that pain, or in the end it ends up degrading relationships that we might have with others or ourselves, or family members and such. So it's very important to spend that time alone to recognize those feelings. Those feelings need to exist. As Doreen was saying, they're a part of our lifespan here. They're part of our soul education. So we need to acknowledge them for the need for them to exist, but we don't need to be married to them. We just need to know the learning and move past it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what also made a difference? Reading, and I have to say, people say, oh, I could never do a fast like that. You know, and all I can say is not only was I ready, but not only do the books help me so much, but you also encourage in the books the help of the angels. And having that support, and I know that made a difference on me being able to do it. And because all this time in my life, I wasn't ready to take that next step into veganism and giving up wheat. And I gave up wheat, I gave up coffee, things you all suggest too. I gave up, anything that really wasn't, I gave up meat. You know, I never did meat anyway. I gave up cheese. That was a big one for me.
Was it?
Big one.
What kind of cheese did you used to be into?
Anything.
Really? If you had a choice between mozzarella and cheddar, which one would you have chosen?
Mozzarella.
Okay,
so that's cheeses,
so
melted mostly.
Because I wrote that book, Constant Craving, as you know, it talks about the different meanings. And when I used to be a psychotherapist, I was obsessed with learning what the chemistry was of the different foods people craved. And so I wrote the book, Constant Craving, as really kind of my own curiosity and research, and found that, you know, mozzarella cheese has a completely different chemical makeup than sharp cheese. So mozzarella cheese has choline in it, which is a natural antidepressant and calms you, where sharp cheddar cheese is a natural, what they call vasoconstrictive. It makes your blood pressure go up. It acts like coffee. So it's one of the reasons that pregnant women crave sharp cheddar cheese and pickled things, is because it's like coffee when your doctor won't let you have coffee because you're pregnant. But what's interesting is Cindy, is that the angels left their signature on your weight loss when you lost 22 pounds, because that's your key word. 2 in angel numbers means faith or trust.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and when you add 2 and 2, it means 4, which means the angels are with you. So,
wow.
So you losing 22 pounds with the help of the angels means that the angels are telling you that they're helping you to trust. So you don't have to learn to trust yourself. And if I can be so bold, because you know I've been seeing angels forever, many lifetimes, in this lifetime, since I was, back as far as I can remember, is that your main... We all have archangels with us helping, in addition to the guardian angels which have. But you have Gabriel with you as one of your main archangels. And Gabriel is very famous for the Christmas story of Luke. Behold, I bring you great tidings of glad joy, for behold, there's the Christ child is born. And so Gabriel, like all the archangels and ascended masters, is not limited and did not go away with the birth of Christ. Continues to be with all of us, and is a very vocal angel. In fact, Gabriel, I just wrote a book about, is the only angel in the Bible who actually speaks. It's interesting. We've got Michael in there. We've got other angels galore, but only Gabriel talks throughout the Bible.
That's why I hear the messages. I get one
Yeah,
or two
Gabriel.
key words, and then it comes.
I mean, they all talk to us now. Those who,
Yeah.
who like myself, who are very, and my husband, very connected to Archangel Michael. Michael's very loud and very powerful. but Gabriel is the messenger angel who delivered the message to Zechariah and to Mary, and continues to work through messengers, and especially those like yourself who are guided to write. And so Gabriel, I respectfully call Gabriel the nudging angel, because Gabriel, with all due respect, is the pushiest angel of them all. For those who are supposed to write, like yourself, Cindy. And I know you've written 2 books, and you've written a beautiful compilation of songs with your Aloha CD, but there's so much more that Gabriel's showing me to write. And the angel is showing me about personal journals. And you struck a chord with my work with women, and that's part of your work too, is to reach out to your sisters globally and help those who are having a hard time struggling right now with abuse issues.
It's very, very important, and I see now women that are overweight, and I can see them in a different light.
Yeah.
When I've understood what you wrote about, and it so often is like, wow, I can see they're bearing their pain in their food, and it's very, you have such compassion instead of judgment. You have compassion.
Yeah.
And then you turn me on to another angel, which is pushing me to write my next book. I'm up to 350 pages. And I didn't understand this angel at all. I think probably the most misunderstood angel of all, Azrael.
Azrael, yes. A lot of people are frightened of Azrael. And the name is similar to a fallen angel, which I don't even want to say the name of, but that angel's name starts with A-S. And Azrael is A-Z-R-A-E-L. And Azrael is the angel who's often thought of as the angel of death, but it's not the Grim Reaper. This is the angel who heals us from loss. Loss of any kind, loss of job, loss of marriage, loss of home, income, self-esteem, health, and grieving and death. And so Azrael's as you've discovered now, a very gentle, soothing angel.
Gave up a lot just to be with people, to help them. And what I was guided by Azrael to do is to write a book to help people connect with their soul and the forgiveness and the love and the light before they pass on. Things that Azrael does.
Exactly.
Peace, understanding the Lord, understanding everything that will help their soul to journey on.
Yeah.
Because, of course, death is one of the most misunderstood things, I think, on this planet.
It really is.
As it is the angel of death. Who isn't the angel of death? He's really the angel of rebirth, So that's a big one, but I'm working on that. And I didn't ever know the name of that angel before. So through your work, I was able to have great understanding, compassion for what this angel is given up to be there to help people.
It's so interesting because as a little girl, I was born with clairvoyance. I still have it. And I saw clearly dead people as a child, and I had no idea what it was. There was no, movies about this or books about this. I didn't know what was going on. These weren't my relatives or anyone I knew. They were just people who other people couldn't see, and it was a horrible, frightening experience. And nobody understood it. Even my compassionate, very spiritual parents, no one was there to comfort me. And so when I'd be all upset because I felt like a freak who didn't belong on this planet, the angels would come to me. But when I was a child, the angels looked like Christmas lights to me, big, fat Christmas lights. They looked like dancing colors. And when the angels would be there, they're always there, but when they come to you in moments of distress, you can sense them. Most people can feel them, like an air pressure change or a temperature change, and some people know that they're there. And you can hear them because they have a celestial music. And for me, I could see them and feel them. I felt this air pressure change like I was in a different dimension. Mm-hmm. And then these big, fat, bright colored Christmas lights floating around. And then as I got older, it kind of switched so I could see the angels more easily than the dead people. But I still see their colors. And Azrael has the most beautiful milky white vanilla color. And it's very similar to the blouse you're wearing. Kind of this eggshell color. And Archangel Michael has this rich, beyond belief, royal blue, royal purple color.
And you're wearing the blues,
Yes.
And Michael here is wearing the blues, of
Yeah,
course.
we love purple and royal blue. And then we talked also about Gabriel, who's known for the trumpet, the horn. Some people think that's the Judgment Day horn, but it's not. It's to say, pay attention. It's heralding a message is here. And so Gabriel's color is the sparkly copper color.
I love that.
And you can kind of tell what angel you're working with by what colors you dress in, what colors you're attracted to.
Interesting.
Raphael, we talked briefly about him. Raphael, whose name means God heals, the healing angel. Saint Raphael in some religions is emerald green, just this beautiful, shocking sapphire.
And you have a lovely tarot deck of Raphael.
Yes, Raphael healing cards.
And I do want to recommend for people, you really have a great set of apps.
Yes.
Really, I got turned on to them, and at first I wasn't quite sure.
Right, I wasn't either.
An app? I don't know. I like holding my cards and shuffling them, but now I think I have 4 of your apps. The new one, the one for assertiveness, you have a deck, a tarot deck.
Oh, Archangel Power Tarot cards.
The Power Tarot cards.
Yes. That's the deck of cards that takes you to the next level after you get the answers and pushes you, just motivates you, says, okay, take action. Because you can have all these insights, but if you don't act on them, it's kind of a waste.
And these apps are really affordable, and I kind of like them because now you can, anywhere you're going, you might not have a deck you can travel with, but you can, if you have time, you look at your app and you do it, and it's kind of cool because you can pick your kind of spread, your layout, and you can email it to yourself and have the reading sent, or you can do it for someone else and send them a reading by email. And I have like 4 of those now. I also got the, it's a wonderful one for the, I got that as an app to the Angel Tarot deck. And you have some beautiful apps now. And the Angel Therapy app, I highly recommend that one. Because that's your audio, and you speak, and I use that in the morning sometimes to start off my meditation because you have beautiful meditation in there, and you use Michael to do a clearing. And for anyone who's very sensitive to energy, I really recommend getting this because it's a one. And I had never, in all my years of studying this, I'd never thought of using Michael to do a clearing before you do a meditation or a reading or something.
Right,
and that's really, I don't know how you came up on that one. He actually has a vacuum. He vacuums out the negative energy.
Yeah, Archangel Michael has been the angel I've been working with since I was a child. And I've had lots of experiences with him. And he taught me all of this. And I would just sit quietly in meditation. And for me, it did require, I had to let go of both wine and coffee to get in charge of my mind. Not everyone has to. It's not a one-size-fits-all detox plan, but I was so sensitive to stimulants and relaxing chemicals that I had to completely detox myself, and this was back in 1996, and let go of wine and coffee. I was using coffee to wake up in the morning, push myself to do things I didn't want to do, which no one should do that. And then at night I would have to turn off the caffeine with wine, and I was stuck in this cycle. And the Archangel Raphael actually was the one who healed me of that. He, in one moment when I asked him to, he took away my cravings, and I never wanted any of that again. So there was no willpower struggle, and there was no headaches or withdrawal or anything. It was a complete miracle because I'm an addictions therapist, and I'd seen how painful it normally is. And so I was like, wow, that doesn't even make sense. So what is this? So I kept meditating. This was when my kids were living with me, and I had a busy life, but I would just lock myself in the bathroom. It was the only place I had where I could escape everything. And I would that was my meditation altar, was in the bathroom. I would just sit on the floor, and I would just listen. I'd say, what do you want me to know? What do you want me to know? And then all these downloads would come, and I would really, it made sense, but is this real? And then I would have clients, and I would try these out on them. I would say, is this okay? Can we try this? And it would work. And that would give it validity to me. And then I would start teaching other people how to do it, and that's how the classes came about. So it was very organic and in the moment. Nothing was premeditated at all.
You know what's